You're watching the Big 12 on ESPN+. Sold out crowd here at the WVU Coliseum in Morgantown, West Virginia. Saturday afternoon hoops, the Utah Utes in town to take on the Mountaineers. Take a look at the top 12 in the Big 12 as the standings sit today. Houston and Arizona on top 10-1 each. You see West Virginia and Utah middle of the pack, 5 and 6 overall on the season. Welcome inside the Coliseum, everybody. Alongside Coach Tim Welsh, I'm Eric Rothman. Happy to be here with you. Coach, for West Virginia, Joe Lunardi, our bracketologist, he has the Mountaineers in the NCAA tournament right now. But they've lost 4 of 5. They need to regain their footing here in February.
They do, and they've been a good basketball team all season long. But the Big 12 is a bear. Everybody knows it. Great coaches. They're going to find your little problem spots. And West Virginia has a problem spot other than Javon Small. They need help. He needs help out on the court. Their defense has been good, but offensively, other guys have to step up.
And defensively, you mentioned it, they've been good, but Gabe Madsen has been really good for Utah, averaging 15 points per game. He's tough to handle.
So he's starting to get into a flow for Utah. When he gets into a flow, everyone else, he makes everybody else better because he takes the pressure off guys up front. He makes the ball handling a little bit easier on the perimeter. He opens up the floor, he spaces it. He can make things play, make things happen, not only from the perimeter, but off the bounce and as a passer as well.
And then you talked about Javon Small. He's the leader in points per game. He has been fantastic this year.
It's funny, when you watch him, the teams load up on him. They're going to gang up on him. They're going to force him to do things he doesn't want to do, but he never bails under pressure. He always makes the right play. He doesn't force the issue. That's why when he does get doubled, he will share the basketball, but other people have to step up and deliver.
Very loud in this building today. Utah's going to have to deal with the pressure. You see Craig Smith, the 4th-year head coach for Utah, and just sitting to his right, our left, that's Josh Eilert, his top assistant. Eilert was a longtime assistant here at West Virginia. It was the interim head coach last year. For West Virginia, it's the first year for Darren DeVries, who came over after a very successful tenure as the head coach at Drake, was the 2-time Missouri Valley Conference Coach of the Year, and his West Virginia Mountaineers are in the all-black uniforms today. Utah with the basketball in their road reds with the white trim. They go inside to Jake Wallin, the sophomore from Provo, and up top to Mike Sharavjans, the junior, played at University of San Francisco, has been a nice addition to this Utah team.
He's another one that's improved over the last few weeks. Sharavjans is is suddenly getting more comfortable at the physicality of this conference.
6'9", filling out a 200-pound frame for the transfer. His dad played for the Harlem Globetrotters. You see for the West Virginia starting lineup, it begins and ends with Javon Small, but they need to find secondary scoring. Look for Powell, look for Hansberry. Somebody's got to step up and score. Toby O'Connor's averaging 8 points a game, but that's not a good shot to start it off for the Mountaineers.
They're going to see a group of different defenses. Double ball screens. They're going to see box in 1, triangle in 2, and some zone.
The secondary scorer for Utah this year has been Ezra Ausar, the man with the basketball here. He gets tied up, and a whistle against West Virginia. Fans thought it was a held ball.
Well, Ausar has been very good lately as well. He's a transfer from East Carolina, obviously stepping up a level, doing different things in this system. And this system is, at East Carolina, was more of a ball screen type system. This is more of a motion offense. You have a little bit more freedom for Craig Smith, so he's got to feel more comfortable in the offense, and you've seen that lately.
Utah coming off a win against Colorado. They're 13-9 overall. What are your keys for them today?
Well, Utah, there's no doubt about it. They've got to follow Gabe Madsen. When he plays well, they play well. And dominate the glass. They've got a big size advantage, and you see it right there.
They go inside. It's Lovering. He's 7 feet 1 inch tall. Former top 100 recruit out of the state of Wyoming. You mentioned the glass. They have been fantastic. 2nd in the conference in rebounds per game. Lovering, a big reason why. A lot of big bodies down low. For West Virginia, you talked about Small, but what are the keys for them? How do they win this basketball game?
They have to give him some support. There's no doubt about it. And if he can't do it on his own, and attack the multiple defenses. We talked about it. There are different coverages in the pick and roll and the zones and the box and 1, triangle 2.
He's named recently a finalist, top 10 for the Bob Cousy Point Guard of the Year award, and deservedly so. He's been spectacular since transferring over from Oklahoma State last year. 2 minutes and change into this one, a 4-0 lead for Utah. They go inside to Asar, the junior from Atlanta, Georgia, with 8 on the shot clock. Lost it off his knee. Sharov jumps, 3 to shoot to his left. Good defense by Harris, but he gets bailed out because Harris committed and Sharov jumps bit for the foul.
Well, we talked about the size advantage of Utah, and you saw it right there, Lawson Lovering, just the ability to put the ball on the deck. And, you know, he can't get too many of those freebies. They need to look at putting him on the line. You know, obviously don't want to give up early fouls, but as the game progresses, we know Utah struggles at the line, and Lovering has been the main guy that's had problems.
Sharov Jump started his career at Dayton, played a year at San Francisco, now with Craig Smith at Utah. And I mentioned his dad played for the Harlem Globetrotters, but the son, you know, Mike, is the first Mongolian to earn a Division I scholarship. A pretty cool accolade for him, but it comes from obviously a well-respected basketball family.
Well, you can see he's got good genes because he's a very intelligent player. In West Virginia, the fans are a little uneasy early.
West Virginia coming off the loss against TCU on the road. They've lost 4 of 5. Amani Hansberry knocks down the first field goal of the game for the Mountaineers.
Well, that's what happened the other night against TCU. Hansberry had a bunch of open looks, and amongst other, and Powell, because they're going to double those ball screens, and Small will find the open man.
Harris, who's been spectacular defensively this season for the Mountaineers, got the steal, and then a foul called on the floor as Harris was driving to the basket. But Sincere Harris, he's had a 6 out of his last 7 games, coach, where he's had 2 or more steals.
Well, the foul was on the floor, but they continued the play. And keep an eye on Harris, hobbling a little bit. He hurt his knee in the TCU game, came out, didn't play at the end of the game. He was questionable for today.
He plays hard both ends. He hurt himself in the Cincinnati game as well. There's Javon Small, back-to-back triples for the Mountaineers. They tie it up at 6.
Well, that's one thing you have to be concerned about when you play West Virginia. Their baseline and sideline out-of-bounds plays are very effective, mostly trying to get Small open looks.
Small nearly a steal there. West Virginia takes the 2nd most threes per game in the conference. They average 27 attempts, shooting 33% as a team, as loose ball off the rebound, out of bounds, West Virginia basketball.
You saw Lovering go over the top, though. West Virginia has to be concerned. Their guards have to get involved with the rebounding. They have really a big size disadvantage almost at every position. West Virginia's -7 in the Big 12 on the glass.
And they need to get out to a fast start, especially at home. We've seen a few games that you and I have called here where they have huge deficits at half, and it's tough to come back. They were down 20 points against Houston at the break.
You know, this league is so unforgiving, and they're a little wounded right now. They've lost 4 out of 5, but they've got the coach and the point guard to bring them back to life.
Sincere Harris, pump fake drive, reverse layup, trickles in.
Well, that's not knowing the scouting report, because they closed out too hard and fast on Harris, and you got to give him that shot from the three-point line, but you can't give him that drive to the rim.
8-0 run for the Mountaineers. Back inside to the senior Lovering. 1 dribble and no whistle. And now a foul going the other way. A loose ball call against the Utes to take us to a timeout.
Well, Javon Small is the man. We all know that. So does Utah, but easier said than done. He comes off those little pin down screens, ready to lock and load.
8-0 run for West Virginia. Review during the timeout on the foul before the break. The foul was called on Ezra Asar. They reviewed to see if there was any extracurriculars. You can see kind of the forearm going above the shoulders there of Toby Okani. They rule it's a common foul. The officials, Michael Greenstein, Chris Paxi, and DeSell Dean, so nothing doing there. But West Virginia, coach, finding the flow offensively, and you see what they can do from the three-point line, because all the attention seems to be on Javon Small. And so other guys like Amani Hansberry, like Jonathan Powell, they get open shots. The problem with the Mountaineers this year they just haven't knocked him down consistently.
Well, that's why Darren DeVries put Amani Hansberry into the starting lineup over Eduardo Andre. They just needed to space the floor a little bit more around Javon Small. When they had the bigs in there, no
After
shooters
review,
around him,
call stands.
It was too tight. Okay, they have to open up the floor. And certainly, Andre's a key player, especially defensively. He's a good passer, but when he's in the game and they have him in the paint and they have Harris on the perimeter, now you've got two total non-shooters out there on the floor, which really tightens up the defense and the spacing for Small to operate.
Hansberry in the starting lineup, 4th game in a row. He had come off the bench for the previous 7 games, so it's an 8-6 lead for West Virginia here, an 8-0 run where they've made their last 3 field goals, including a Javon Small 3-pointer. You can see how good of a captain he is, moving his teammates into position, getting the high screen there. A deep 3 rattles off the rim and into the hands of the Utah Utes. Guy who likes to shoot threes as well, Gabe Madsen, a 32% 3-point shooter on the year, but he takes the most per game out of anybody in the Big 12. Another deep 3-point attempt, that one bricked by Jonathan Powell. Asar in transition, up and under for Ezra Asar, the transfer from East Carolina.
Let's see, Craig Smith is calling a fist defense, and that last possession, they switched everything on Javon Small, and they're face guarding him, and they're really getting up on him and not allowing him to catch it.
Hansberry, that 3-pointer lips out of bounds, last touched by Utah. But another good look for Hansberry, seems to be dialed in. That one didn't miss by much.
No, Ezra Asar can get out in transition. He's very good in the half court as well. He works that baseline, but you see just the fluidity and the ability to glide and finish in traffic.
Likes to get to the rim. He's 2nd in the Big 12 in free throw attempts this year. Draws a lot of contact. Here's Hansberry working against the 7'1" Lovering. 10 on the shot clock, offensive foul. Illegal screen on the handoff, and Gabe Madsen sold it pretty well.
Utah right now, they're being very physical with Javon Small. They're face guarding him on the wing. They're not giving any help, even on the weak side. They're making sure he doesn't catch the ball in that sweet spot area. So his teammates are really going to have to work not only to get open and make shots, but to get him open as well.
Hansberry takes a seat. You saw him chatting with Coach Darren DeVries. They bring in the 7-footer Eduardo Andre for the first time. Came over from Fresno State, where he played the last 2 seasons. Here's Jake Wallin. And a whistle up top as Joseph Yesufu trying to get aggressive in the passing lane, the transfer from Washington State.
Well, Wallin's important. I mean, they have to get up and do that. And Yesufu's going to pressure Wallin when he does catch the ball, because he is an important player. He's kind of a glue guy. Craig Smith calls him the connector out there. He does a lot of little things that don't show up in the box score.
Oh, the Utah coaching staff familiar with Yesufu. They played against him in the Pac-12 when he was with Washington State. Sharv jumps, spot up 3. Offensive rebound. KJ Tenner, mismatch there in terms of height. Sharv Jumps wants it back. He recognizes the mismatch, but Tenner does a good job.
Well, right now, Utah doesn't have the great spacing they normally do when they're really rolling on the offensive end. And Craig Smith is an excellent motion offense coach, which means move the ball, space the floor, not a lot of dribbling. But right now, they're kind of too many guys in the paint, too much dribbling for Utah to have much success offensively.
4th year for Craig Smith at Utah, has yet to reach the NCAA tournament. Did so twice at Utah State when he was the head coach there. Was also the Mountain West Coach of the Year 2019 for the Aggies. Tough fadeaway jumper for Gabe Madsen. Both him and his twin brother Mason reuniting this year. It's a 4th year for Gabe in Utah, but Mason came over after a couple years in Cincinnati and a couple more years at Boston College.
Well, that's what they do, though. They move Madsen around on the floor. He does a great job of coming off those pin downs and those curls and ready to go.
Andre was calling for it, took his eye off the ball, saved it from going out of bounds. 6 to shoot now. Here's KJ Tenner driving, floating. That one's good. And KJ Tenner has his first basket in the last 9 games for West Virginia.
He does a good job running the offense, good on-ball defender, but that's what they need, other people just to help a little bit with Small.
Good action there to get Madsen open in the corner, but he misses that three-point attempt. He's now 0 for 2. But he's getting some good looks. And a whistle underneath as Lovering reached in and is called for the personal.
Well, Darren DeVries going to his bench early and often tonight, and I think he's trying to get everybody involved in the flow early. And Javon Small, he's going to give him a little bit of a break as well. And this is what he likes to do. Right before the TV timeout comes, he'll give him that break now and the TV timeout, then insert him back in the lineup.
Utah going to their bench as well, bringing in Zach Keller and Keanu Dawes. Yesufu has had a resurgence as of late. Last 3 games averaging 12 points per. He's only averaging 5 total on the season. Caught in a trap, nowhere to go. I believe that was Elvis, coach, who said you're caught in a trap and you can't break out. And a loose ball, a held ball will stay with the Mountaineers.
Oh, good job by Yesufu, though, not to panic. He had the 2 bigs surrounding him and building that wall around him. He had nowhere to go, but he just tried to stay tough with it. Didn't burn the timeout, which is smart since you have the possession arrow, and just somehow found a way to get the ball back.
4 on the shot clock now. Step back, Toby Okani, a long 2.
Okani working on his free throws earlier today. They got good form from the perimeter. He should be able to knock down free throws as well.
Oh, he's fighting for it on the defensive side of things too, coach. Gets the turnover and a foul called on Ezra Asar.
Well, those are the winning plays you need when you're kind of waffling a little bit on both ends of the floor. You're coming off a tough loss at TCU, and as a coach, this is what you preach. They're the little winning plays that don't show up in the box score.
And I know Coach DeVries is not happy with that loss at TCU. The Horned Frogs went to the free throw line 23 times in that game compared to West Virginia's 5. And the Mountaineers ended up losing that game 65-60.
That irritates you. There's no doubt about it, no matter what the circumstance. You know, TCU played well, but West Virginia's got to try to even that up a little bit this afternoon.
Offensive board. Okani kick out to Yesufu for 3.
I'll tell you, Toby Okani's come to play tonight, and Joseph Yesufu, that's what they need from him. He's had some good games in the last few weeks. He didn't do much against TCU, but those 2 guys are big keys.
Madsen one-on-one with Yesufu, and he kicked it out of bounds. As we'll go to the break with a 7-0 West Virginia run. Threes, they've got 3 of them in 7 attempts. Utah has yet to hit one today.
Well, we talked about the balance that's needed, and it's not total balance. It's going to be balanced one way with this band, with Javon Small, but he needs help. He needs support. He needs other guys to help take the pressure off him, or else he's going to just see doubles all night long. And guys like Okani and Yesufu and Powell and company and Hansberry, they have the capability. They just need a little confidence. I think they've been lacking the confidence as of late. And Darren DeVries talked to him earlier today, and he just says, you know, we got to do our thing. We got to just step up. If we have a shot, don't hesitate. Don't worry about it. Just knock it down.
They went 8 for 30 from 3 in the loss the other day to TCU. A little full court pressure here out of the timeout from Utah. Eric Rossman, Tim Welsh with you here in Morgantown. Miro Little back into the game for Utah. And Mason Madsen making his first appearance. A little zone defense here from the Utes as Powell misses the 3. 3 turnovers for Utah has been hurting them, but they haven't scored in 2.5 minutes. Dawes lines one up, and he's been really good off the bench. Transfer from Rice, averaging 8 points, 5 rebounds a game.
Yeah, Dawes has that good ability from the outside. You see that nice shot. He normally doesn't take a lot of them, but he's a good skill player. At 6'9", can shoot over the top.
First 3-point make for the Utes in 4 attempts. Javon Small waiting to check in. Meanwhile, here's KJ Tenner to his left. A floater from the elbow. Kind of looked like he wanted to pass it, but Eduardo Andre wasn't quite in position out of the pick and roll. 10.5 minutes to play here in the opening half. Miro Little is fouled, and he will go to the free throw line to shoot 3. It's Tenner called for the personal. The 5th foul against West Virginia. And that'll send Miro Little to the free throw line.
You've got to be smart, though, when you're out there contesting on the wing. And obviously you're hyped up, the big game today. And you've made a bucket, you're getting some minutes early, but you got to know who you're guarding out there. I mean, Little's only made about 1 per game over the course of the season.
Yeah, he's actually been scoreless the last 3 games, has not played much. He does average 6 points per game on the season. Makes the first 2 free throws. Coach, making free throws for this Utah team is not a given. They are one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the country. In fact, 352nd in free throw percentage at 62% per game. And that's trouble because they go to the line more than most teams. They're top 4 in free throw attempts per game in the Big 12.
Yeah, you know, and when you have those teams, sometimes as a coach, you're just saying, you know, do we have bad shooters? No. I mean, they have guys that, most of them have pretty good form, so it becomes a mentality a little bit, and then it becomes something where it just trickles down throughout the team. So you can't really address it. You just have to keep working on it in practice and be positive.
Little got all 3 of them on that trip to give Utah a 1-point lead. As Dawes fighting for the rebound, it'll be a foul against West Virginia called on Eduardo Andre. First foul on Andre. It's actually the first time Utah has been here to Morgantown. Last meeting was in 1998. That was a Sweet 16 matchup where the Utes won 65-62. The Rick Majerus team in 1998. Little baseline drive cut off there by Tenner. Small lineup on the floor for West Virginia. The big man's Hansberry with 6'8". 5 on the shot clock. Good defense here from the Mountaineers. Little sidestepping, looks at a 3. Loose ball, knocked around, and Hansberry has it for the defense.
That was a great defensive possession by West Virginia against a secondary offensive lineup, and it makes him pay.
Yesufu, a transition 3, his 2nd triple of the game. Hunter Erickson.
The problem with Utah right now is where are you going to score? You got a lot of guys that can. That's a good back cut and a nice pass from Keller to Little.
Little now with 5 points. Again, has barely played the last 3 games, averaging just 8 minutes per. Scoreless in all 3 of those, but now out to a good start here in the opening 11 minutes on the road against West Virginia.
I like this move by Craig Smith. I mean, you have all 5 bench guys in the game, but you want to give them a little feel early to see who's ready.
Yesufu, little heat check there. West Virginia 4 for 11 from deep. Here's Mason Madsen, who struggled a bit in conference play, averaging just 4 points per game against Big 12 teams. Tried to dump it off, but a very congested lane as that one knocked out of bounds. 13 on the shot clock will stay with Utah.
Well, you're trying to buy some time if you're Craig Smith. You've got 5 guys in that all came off the bench. Now he's got Asar coming back in, but you got to keep an eye on it because you can't go 3-4 minutes without scoring. You got to see where you're going to get the scoring. Now, Mason Madsen does have that ability. You saw the nice move by Little, so they've been able to get some buckets and some points from their bench.
And they'd like to get more out of Mason Madsen. He was averaging 9 points per game in the non-conference, just 4 points per game in conference play, although coming off a 10.5 rebound performance in the win against Colorado. Buried in the corner, that's a tough shot for Mason. Now Javon Small, 3-on-2, Mason trailing, make it 3-on-3, and Small will reset inside. Hansberry with the left, and a late whistle.
Well, Craig Smith did not like that shot by Mason Madsen. It was not a good shot at all. You've got to reset clock after the foul, and shoot a contested three falling away from the corner. You know, that's why one of the reasons his minutes have been down. I mean, you talk about his scoring being down in the Big 12. That's because directly of those type of plays, and his minutes have been reduced.
First foul attempts of the game for West Virginia. Hansberry, an 82% free throw shooter on the season. Now, Silver Spring, Maryland. He's ranked number 69 on the ESPN 100. Played his freshman year at Illinois. Now as a sophomore with the Mountaineers. Full court pressure now by West Virginia. They've got Sharvjomps caught in the corner, and it's a turnover. Good feed, small to Okani. Defense paying dividends for West Virginia. Now Asar the other way, and the Mountaineers don't get back.
Well, they don't. I'm sure they wanted to get back into their press, but Utah did a good job of just going away from the ball instead of throwing it in the deep corner where they got trapped on the previous possession.
Hand off to Small. Harris trying to control it. 21-20 lead for the home team here. 7.5 minutes to play in the opening half. Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh with you at the WVU Coliseum. 2 to shoot. Harris got bumped off the glass. Trickles off. Loose ball picked up by the Utes. Knocked around. Lawson Lovering has it over the timeline. Passes out of trouble to Hunter Erickson. Frantic now with West Virginia pressuring on defense.
West Virginia does like to pick up on occasion. They surprised Utah with that pressure before because normally they don't trap. At that time they found a way to trap in the corner.
That's it. Inside, Lovering. It's a big target down there for the guards to throw it into, and a good finisher as well. Averages 9 points, 5 boards a game, and gives the Utes a 22-21 lead.
Well, that's where you need to put Lovering on the line. I mean, you're right there. You had an opportunity to foul him. He's 41% from the free throw line. Instead, they gave him an easy look.
Okani was caught on the baseline. Lovering dropped off, gave him a shot at it, and just kind of hesitated midair. Had a really good look because Lovering disappeared on the help side. Sharvjomps, transition three. The rainbow rattles out. Sear Harris. They're letting Harris take as many looks from three as he wants. He's made 4 out of 44 from three this year, and he says, you know what, I know when my bread is buttered, I'm going to drive to the lane, and one for Sincere Harris.
You need to press, you need to be active, and Utah is answered with their own break to the rim.
Eilert, now an assistant coach with Utah, was the interim coach for West Virginia last year. He was on staff as an assistant for the Mountaineers for 17 years. And, you know, listen, tough situation that he was in last year. Bob Huggins being dismissed and Eilert having to assume the role. It was a really rocky season here in Morgantown. But credit to these fans before the game today. Eilert got a huge ovation from the Mountaineer faithful when he was announced during starting lineups.
Yeah, Josh was in a tough situation last year with guys being injured and ineligible. When he took the team over, guys left with the portal the way it was, and you know, handled it with a lot of class, a ton of class. And the West Virginia fans certainly respect that. And Craig Smith found a guy to come help him. That's a nice find in the offseason if you can have a guy like Josh Eilert sitting next to you.
And it was really cool too. Craig Smith was like pumping up the crowd. You're trying to, you know, get as much noise made for Eilert. And I know Craig Smith knows how much this game means to Josh and his family. So really cool for everybody embracing Eilert in his return to Morgantown. 6 minutes to go here in the first half. The WVU Coliseum. Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh calling the action. It's a 2-point lead for West Virginia. They go inside to Lovering, working against Eduardo Andre. Too strong on the baby hook off the glass.
Good job by Andre. Just built that wall down low, didn't reach in, and made him shoot over the top.
West Virginia has lost 4 of their last 5. Right now, Joe Lunardi has them penciled in as a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. as the lob to O'Connor was knocked away. Here comes Jake Wallin driving with the left, rejected. Eduardo Andre palms it into the backboard.
Good job by Utah on the recovery. Got back. Small wanted to try to push the issue, but Utah got back and matched up.
Small to Sincere Harris. Cut off there by Gabe Madsen. 5 to shoot now for Small. Spinning. And a shot clock violation. Small so far, just 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting, and now the turnover.
Well, this is the end-to-end action, and Utah doing a good job defensively. Their size right now is bothering West Virginia, especially in the half court. Andre with the nice block there. But in that possession, when Harris does drive the ball into the gut, Utah's staying home on the perimeter. West Virginia's perimeter players have to slide into open areas so Harris can turn and pitch it back out for an open 3.
Gabe Madsen getting help on the screen from Keller. 10-footer on the baseline. And an offensive rebound, but not before an offensive foul. It was Zach Keller, the transfer from Wake Forest, who got called on the push.
West Virginia doing a pretty good job with their blockouts because Utah's trying to go to the glass. And you see that size. It's pretty imposing. But West Virginia's handling it pretty well in the half court defensively, but down at this end, a little bit of a problem. They're having trouble finding good passing angles because of the length of Utah.
So West Virginia in the bonus, and Eduardo Andre, a 58% free throw shooter, misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Trying to get Gabe Madsen a look here. Instead, he kicks it out to Wallin on the wing. Flashing is Dawes. Lowers the shoulder into O'Connor. Fans wanted a whistle. Instead, they get a whistle against the home team on the rebound. And the boos rain down as now Utah is in the bonus.
Well, you can call that on every possession. It's 2 guys going up for a rebound, and you know, Andre bangs in. There's some banging going on in there, but
not much there as Eduardo Andre picks up his 2nd foul.
It'll be a long night if they keep calling that. But speaking of free throw shooting, I was thinking about this earlier today on my walk on the Riverwalk here, West Virginia's version of it. You know how they have the quarterback camp, like the Mannings have the quarterback camp? Thinking about starting a free throw shooting camp.
I love it.
In the summer for young players, because it seems to be a lost art. Everybody can shoot the 3, but no one can. The free throw shooting this year seems pretty inconsistent throughout all of college basketball, as Oz makes too.
Utah, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the country, 62%. What do you know? They've made 7 of 7 here in this one.
Yeah, TCU was the same thing the other night against West Virginia.
Tie ball game, under 4 minutes to go. O'Connor is a big screen laid out on Gabe Madsen, and now O'Connor with a knee to Madsen's head, but he was still on the floor.
Now we need to blow the whistle and make sure Madsen's okay.
Utah's trying to call a timeout.
I mean,
Madsen got laid out on the screen, and he was still trying to get up, and O'Connor just ran into him.
Well, as we said, this is Big 12 basketball, and Madsen got screened and then stepped on. Double trouble.
Madsen used as a crash test dummy on the last possession. Got really hit hard by Javon Small. A good clean screen here up top. And then what happened after the O'Connor bucket, Coach? O'Connor's kind of turning around, not paying attention, and a knee to the face of Madsen while he was still on the ground.
Yeah, O'Connor got tripped up by Madsen, and he struggled all night long just because they're doing a good job on him. It's not like he's forcing the issue. He's moving without the ball coming off some of the screens. The spacing hasn't been as good as normally is for Utah, but West Virginia is doing a good job of just getting up in his chest, not allowing him open looks.
I think if college basketball had the blue tent like the NFL, Gabe Madsen would have been in it during the timeout there. Takes a seat on the bench. Utah's now missed their last 6 field goals, and they're scoreless the last 3.5 minutes of play. Hansberry left wide open. That one is drained by the 6'8" sophomore Amani Hansberry.
Javon Small drew the defender, the second defender from that pick and roll as the pick and pop at the top. And it's going to be open all day long unless Utah rotates from the backside.
Hansberry's got 7 points, 6 from the three-point line. Mason Madsen, a quick response. Ends the drought for Utah. They're now 2 of 9 from three-point distance.
Well, that's what they need from Mason Madsen, and that will help Gabe open up some lanes as well if he can knock down some shots.
Just 3 points in the first half for Javon Small. Utah's done a good job of limiting his opportunities. 7 to shoot, O'Connor. And Hansberry, they leave him open again.
Hesitated. Sometimes when you hesitate instead of just pulling the trigger, that happens. You think about it too much.
O'Connor strip steal against Keanu Dawes. Yesufu the other way. And the floater for Joseph Yesufu, leading scorer for the Mountaineers with 8.
Just too loose with the basketball at the top. You cannot put the ball right in front of you with the defender in your face.
4th steal by this West Virginia defense here in the first half, under 2 minutes to play. Litto, push off, no good. Small crossover inside Hansberry, out of bounds, off the leg of Amani Hansberry, and a turnover against West Virginia.
West Virginia has been very pesky with the hands. You see Dawes, he puts the ball right in front of O'Connor. That's easy money, but a nice floater on the backside. And that's what Yesufu, in their wins, he gives him that energizer off the bench, and he's been tough with it defensively and making plays in transition.
Yeah, really, up until those last 3.5 games, he had been non-existent. I mean, he really has completely energized himself with about, I don't know, 6 weeks to go in the season, and he's become a big deal for this West Virginia offense. Another steal for the Mountaineers. Yesufu looking for more. He's averaging 12 points a game over his last 3, and he's got 10 here in the first half today.
Well, it can't be overstated. Everybody says this league, the Big 12. But when you jump up to this conference, it's a big jump. And Utah's found that out this year, coming from the Pac-12. It's just more physical, better athletes from top to bottom.
Mountaineer fans getting into it under a minute to play here in the first half. Both the Madsen twins are out there now. Gabe inside the levering, and Toby O'Connor with the rejection. O'Connor now on the offensive end, knocks down the 3 in the corner. Largest lead of the game for West Virginia.
And Toby O'Connor, he made 11 threes on a season coming into today. Looks like he's Javon Small out there from the perimeter.
Air ball 3.
Now this is defense, and Craig Smith wanted a foul here, but that is a heck of a block. The timing right at the rim, the resistance, and coming back the other way. Confidence, knocking it down from the corner.
Now a chance for West Virginia to add to it. The shot clock turned off, 18.6 seconds to go. We're going to take a look at the monitor.
I think they're looking at the clock would be my best guess. I don't know what else you'd be looking at here.
West Virginia, their defense coach has been great. 5 steals, 2 blocks. They're on a 7-0 run right now. And for all we talked about the struggles of secondary scoring for West Virginia, the intensity that they're having on the defensive end is giving opportunities to guys like Yesufu and Okani to make some shots in transition and not have to worry about half-court sets.
Yeah, well, the thing is with Utah, they're a rhythm offensive team, and meaning, what does that mean? That means that they're gonna move the ball from side to side. They play off motion, they play off timing and screens, and West Virginia is pushing them off their sweet spots. They're pressuring the heck out of the basketball. They're denying entry passes to the wing, and they're forcing them away from where they want to catch the ball, and it's really disrupted Utah's offensive flow.
Utah's got 1 for their last 10 from the floor. Meanwhile, it's the largest lead of the game for the Mountaineers with 20 seconds to go in the half. Still trying to figure out the clock. Went from 18.6 to 20. And we appear to be good to go now. So Small, who's only got 3 points. They haven't needed his offense here.
He's done a really good job of finding the open. He always does. But the difference so far tonight is that when he's finding these guys, they're delivering.
5 seconds to go. Small, double teamed. Passes out of it. Hansberry short on the 3, but a great half for West Virginia here at home. They've lost 4 out of the last 5, but come out of the gate strong, and they lead at 36-27.
Well, it's been the defense of West Virginia as first and foremost, but also the secondary players making plays, not only in transition, but from the perimeter.
Yesufu leads the way with 10 for the Mountaineers. 36-27 at the half. We'll be back for more in Morgantown when we return. Largest lead of the game for West Virginia here at the break, 36-27 at home against Utah. Both teams 5 and 6 in conference play this year. Tim Welsh, Eric Rothman back with you at the WVU Coliseum. Coach, we talked about it a little bit, but WVU has struggled a bit getting out of the gates quickly here at home this season. That's got to be one of the best first halves offensively and defensively this home crowd has seen this year.
You know, I like what Darren DeVries did. He went to his bench early to get them a feel of this game, to give them confidence that he has confidence in his bench, because he needs his bench. I mean, they're not that deep as it is, but he needs other people just to go in the game and make plays other than Javon Small, and that happened.
And for Utah, they need to find some offensive production somewhere. They got some early from the big man Lovering, but only 4 points for him after a couple of loud baskets early.
West Virginia's defense was very disruptive. They were just up in everything. They got in the passing lanes. They pressured the basketball. They did a really good job on the backboards and didn't allow many easy opportunities for Utah. And Utah's offense is tough to play against, and then they ran some good stuff themselves. And listen, if you told Darren DeVries before this game, Javon Small is going to have 3 points at halftime, what do you think? He said, he would probably say we're in deep trouble. But he has confidence in his secondary players, and his secondary players delivered. And not only Darren DeVries has confidence, that man, Javon Small, has confidence, and he's lifted these other guys up because he continues throughout the season to pass them the ball. He doesn't force the issue. He trusts his teammates. And when you're a great player and you trust your teammates, even though everybody knows you're the best player on the floor by far, that will lift their confidence and lift their play, and that's what's happened so far tonight.
5 assists for Javon Small in that first half, and the defense leading to offense. Second chance points, or excuse me, points off turnovers, I should say. 12-2 in favor of West Virginia. And you see the shooting woes for Utah. They scored 0 points the last 5 possessions of the half, and they've made 1 out of their last 10 field goal attempts. So they're going to need to find some offensive spark somewhere. Gabe Madsen was really cornered in that first half by the West Virginia defense, had just 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting.
Yeah, you know, West Virginia has done a good job defensively, but offensively, Utah's got to make some adjustments as well, just to try to get the ball down low, to try to pound it in. But also, what does Utah do with their adjustments with Javon Small? Are they going to continue just to double and stay with him and then not rotate on the backside, just give West Virginia wide open shots? I think they'll still roll out and try to do that because they'll dare them for somebody else to beat them. But their problem has been on the offensive end. They've got to answer down at the other end.
Ready to start the second half, but a reminder for the West Virginia Mountaineers upcoming game. Saturday at 2 p.m., they will be taking on the Baylor Bears down in Waco. Javon Small, good battle with the Bears' top scorer, Norchad Omier. And West Virginia trying to get a road win against a top team in the Big 12. Be on the road Saturday at 2 p.m. on ESPN2. Speaking of road wins, Utah really could use one on the road. They have struggled mightily away from Salt Lake City. They are just 1-4 in true road games this year. And coach, at home, they average 81 points per game. On the road, they average 59 points per game.
They seem a little sluggish. I believe, though, most of that's been caused by the quickness and aggressive defensive nature of West Virginia in the half court.
It'll be the Utes with the basketball. Start the second half. Good defense, Oconee. They're going to call a held ball. The rim protection of Toby Oconee in this game has been spectacular.
And that was a very good half-court set right out of the break for Utah, but that will get you nothing. Finishing has been paramount, and that's been tough with Oconee, as you mentioned.
Utah, 34% from the floor in that first half. West Virginia, 48%, as Oconee had the layup drip off the front of the iron. Oconee in that first half, 9 points on 4 of 7 shooting. Deep three from Whalen. Wallin, and Utah needed it. They were just 2 of 10 from 3 in that first half from distance.
Wallin didn't get many opportunities in the first half, and we said it earlier. You know, Craig Smith calls him the connector. He's just so important, but he just never got into the flow.
36% three-point shooter on the year, brings the Utes within 6. If you're West Virginia, you just don't want to give away all that momentum you built up at the end of the first half, and Javon Small will go to the free throw line.
Oh, that right there shows you the greatness of Javon Small. There's really nothing there. They're just doing a good job. They're pushing him sideline. He gets a half step, but then finds an arm to run into to get to the free throw line, which he did not do once on Wednesday night at TCU.
West Virginia as a team only had 5 free throw attempts in that loss on the road against TCU. You heard Joe Lunardi talking about it during the halftime segment there. You know, said, listen, West Virginia's not a lock right now, but they are likely in given their non-conference resume. They've beaten 3 top 10 teams despite the sub-500 record in conference play. Joe thinks they've done enough right now to sit as a 9 seed, but as you said, and as Joe kind of alluded to, some very winnable home games down the stretch for the Mountaineers.
Well, that's the key. You've got to win some more. No one gets into the NCAA tournament with 5 conference wins, so they've got to do more. But they've laid the foundation. That's the important part. If they keep playing like they have all season long consistently, they'll get enough wins to get in because they have such high quality wins all season long.
Wins earlier this year, then number 3 Gonzaga, then number 24 Arizona, and then number 2 Iowa State.
You know, we all love and respect Joe, but the problem is sometimes when your team starts listening to Joe Lunardi, your players, and thinking, oh wait, we're in the tournament, and you stop playing, you stop getting better. So that's really a coach has to really avoid that with his basketball team and just say, none of that matters right now. We just have to keep getting better and keep winning, and then we will have enough done throughout the year to get in.
Lovering displaying why he's a 41% free throw shooter on the season. Just bricked those 2 from the stripe. Good feed, Small inside. Hansberry, nice touch.
Nice feed, though. They came off that little pin down. They showed hard and left Hansberry wide open, and Small just such great court vision.
6th assist of the game for Javon Small after a 7-assist performance in the loss to TCU. Asar got the bubble ball, and now a technical foul after the dunk assessed to Ezra Asar. I didn't quite see what the reaction of Asar was after he made that free throw.
Well, this has been a little bit of an emphasis this year with the officials, and just
a little clap at the referee there.
He clapped. He wanted the foul. So, you can say something, but the clap on top of the words always lead to something you don't want.
Michael Greenstein, Chris Paxi, DeSell Dean, the 3 referees in this one. So Small gets it done at the free throw line. 10-point lead, 2 minutes into this second half.
You can do that in the association, but not in the college basketball. They're going to allow that. Yeah.
Soft press from Utah, just trying to drain the shot clock a little bit. Powell been very quiet in this game, scoreless on 2 attempts.
Utah showing a little 2-3 zone on this possession.
Harris has 5 to shoot, fading away to Hansberry. Good wherewithal to let it go quickly, but still came up short.
They kind of showed zone. It was hard to tell after the first 3 passes. They might have morphed back into the man, but did confuse West Virginia for some of that possession. You know, on top of Javon Small doing everything else, he has been defending Gabe Madsen all night long as well, and doing just a really good job of not letting him catch it where he can be effective.
This West Virginia team second in the conference scoring defense. They only allow 64 points per game. And you can see why. Hands everywhere. They're in all the passing lanes. O'Connor and Harris are great defenders, and Javon Small probably a little underrated considering how good he is guarding usually the team's best guard.
He is in a stance. He is giving 100% effort on Madsen and not letting him catch the ball anywhere.
Madsen, just 2 points so far in this game, 1 of 5 shooting as Utah gets the 3-pointer.
Well, that was a good out of bounds play. Just freed Madsen up just a little bit. Small got bumped in the corner, and Madsen doesn't need a lot of time. That was a good reaction.
Gabe Madsen, his 4th year with Utah after playing as a freshman at the University of Cincinnati.
And Utah back in the 2-3 zone, using that length at the top.
Hansberry got below the zone on the baseline. O'Connor found him for the easy 2.
Oh, that is textbook offensive execution. They got right into the middle, right in the teeth of that zone, then went middle, baseline, dunk.
Sharv jumps for 3.
Utah's going to switch defenses again, and Craig Smith will do this. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning of the game. You know, they'll play triangle and 2. They'll go box and 1. They'll go zone. They'll go man. They'll double ball screens. They have a variance of defenses. Now they're just going straight man, full court.
Joseph Yesufu into the game, guarded up top by Jake Wallin. Good look at the half-court set from that camera angle, too. Really spread out with Lovering sitting in the defense in the middle. Little pick and roll, and Hansberry delivers and 1 for West Virginia.
Well, Hansberry delivers after Javon Small delivered to him, and just a perfect bounce pass. Thread the needle. Help comes late on the backside.
7th assist now for Javon Small.
That's the problem. If you're going to show that hard at the top, the help from the backside's got to come on the pass, not on the catch, and that's what Madsen did. He was too late.
Largest lead of the game for West Virginia. 12-point advantage. 4 minutes into the second half here at the Coliseum in Morgantown. Eric Rothman, Tim Welsh with you courtside. Small went for the swipe. Now Madsen for 3. Small got the rebound, tracking down the ball. Hansberry lost it out of bounds. Good help side from Ezra Asar.
Well, Javon Small is showing what a complete player he is, and we all knew it, but now his teammates are making him feel good about it. They're delivering.
Well, Coach Javon Small has been distributing the basketball here in the second half, and a lot of those distributions have gone to Amani Hansberry.
Well, you've got to be ready, and you've got to move, and you've got to read the defense, and you've got to be ready to deliver, because Javon Small will find you. You can't stand around, because the defense is shifted towards Javon Small, obviously. Just like, I think they're getting used to that. The doubles on the ball screen, the hard hedges, all the switching, and Darren DeVries done a nice job with his other players, showing them film, understanding where they can get their open shots, and it's really benefited them in the half court today.
Hansberry, the leading scorer in the game now with 14. Both him and Joseph Yesufu in double figures for the Mountaineers. Nobody on Utah has more than 6 points, and that's Ezra Asar. 47-35 lead for West Virginia. Madsen at the knees of Lovering, the 7-footer, couldn't get it. Loose ball, Asar, and a whistle. Foul on Javon Small, his first.
Dive on the floor, and West Virginia, again, active with the loose ball, but it's almost like saving the ball under the other team's basket. You're better off just falling on it or pitching it out to the corner, but he lost control of it. He tried to get control of it, and then it popped loose right in front of the rim.
Sarr misses the free throw, so after making their first 7 from the free throw line, Utah has missed their last 3. Again, just a 62% free throw shooting team on the season. No luck there for Asar, as Utah now scoreless the last 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
It just punches you right in the stomach as a coach. You can't show your emotion because you've got to stay positive with your team, but my goodness, that's frustrating.
It's Virginia working on the perimeter, and a foul against Utah. It's on Keanu Dawes, pushing off on the screener, Eduardo Andre.
Well, again, that's the Javon Small factor. Just it's a 9-1-1 when he's coming off a screen. Everyone's just trying to fight over and not give him any space.
Under 15 minutes to play here in regulation. West Virginia has lost 4 of their last 5, and they turn it over there. Both teams trying to get back to 500 in conference play, but we've kind of outlined, the difference. The records might look similar, but West Virginia's resume much stronger this season.
Yeah, on that possession, they probably shouldn't pass the ball to Eduardo Andre right there. He's posted up about 10-12 feet from the basket with his back to the basket. Make him repost and carve out some space right at the rim, which will open up the perimeter, because he can score down there, but from that position, he's not going to be able to score.
Yesufu knocking Sharif Johnson out of bounds and called for the foul. Second foul on Joseph Yesufu. Sharif Johnson just inside the free throw line. That's his first bucket of the second half, and he's got 6 points.
I like him in that little pick and roll spot, and he's pretty good. He's got that length at 6'9". Or Utah, I'd go back to that a little bit more, give him some more opportunities in the middle of the lane.
Foul away from the ball as Sharif Johnson was trying to keep up with Javon Small. Good luck with that.
Well, that's what we said on the previous play. It's just 9-1-1 when he's coming off. Your job is to deny him everywhere, but he's constantly moving without the basketball. And I like what Gina Auriemma says about Paige Beckers. She moves like water, and that's kind of what Javon Small does. He moves so well without the basketball.
Seven on the shot clock. Yesufu from deep. Knocked around. Loose ball. Utah has it under 14 minutes to play in regulation. Madsen in transition. Stutter step, drive, push up, fade away. Good. Gabe Madsen starting to find the stroke a little bit now with 7 points.
That's a good job by Madsen, though, just to kind of catch it and on the move and go. Find an angle, make a move before the defense gets set.
Utah's made 5 of their last 7. West Virginia hasn't scored in 2.5 minutes. Small dancing with it, hesitating, driving, and one for Javon Small. You say he's like water, I say he's smooth like butter.
You can say anything you want about him. You can use all the positive adjectives you can find in a basketball player, and they will be attributed to his game, because there was nothing there that time. He just made something out of nothing, and normally he doesn't force the issue. He forced the issue there because he knew he had an opportunity.
Slimmed down a little bit in the offseason, and talked to him after the win on the road against Cincinnati. He said, you know, I don't feel like my body is that much different, but what I feel different is my first step. My first step off the dribble, I feel a little bit quicker than I did last year.
Well, this is confidence in coaching right here and in your team, and giving your other players confidence to take him out with an 11-point lead. And I'll tell you what, I wouldn't have the confidence to do that. That shows you what a good coach Darren DeVries is.
A.J. Tenner checks back in. Lovering missing the layup. Out of bounds. Last touch by Utah.
Well, Darren DeVries can take Javon Small out now with an 11-point lead because they're up 11, but also because he sees the way they're playing on the defensive end of the floor, that they're not just going to let this lead slip in the next 2 minutes before he can get Small back in after the next timeout.
Each team with 6 turnovers, but West Virginia has 12 points off those turnovers compared to Utah's 4. O'Connor fading away. Yesufu rips down the offensive board. Powell spots up a 3. First bucket of the game for Jonathan Powell, and a smirk to the crowd here in West Virginia. Wallin finger roll quiets the Coliseum for a moment, and Powell limping down the court, got shaken up on defense.
I think Craig Smith was going to call a timeout, but he saw that they had numbers, and he trusts Wallin's going to make the right play.
5 points now for Jake Wallin, the sophomore from Provo, Utah. Tenner, leaner in the lane, and he'll go to the free throw line.
Tenner's been a little hungrier than normal tonight. He's gaining some confidence as this game grows. You know, as a freshman, you're just trying to come in and hold down the fort and run the team, but he's been looking for his offense. He's done a good job of getting into the lane, the dribble penetration, and getting into the free throw line.
West Virginia 6 for 7 in the second half from the free throw line. Tenner's been giving the Mountaineers some good minutes and giving Javon Small a chance to rest on the bench without having too big of a drop-off. As you see, O'Connor checks out and Sincere Harris back in for the Mountaineers. Tenner missed them both. 12-point lead, 12 minutes to go. Sharv jumps, nobody home. Turnover on the Utes. The Mountaineers rolling here at home. To say this West Virginia team, coach, would look a lot different if their star transfer Tucker DeVries was still in the lineup, but he is out for the season. Recently had surgery. You see him, his back to you there with the sling around that left arm. But in the 8 games he played for the Mountaineers, 15 points per game, obviously coming over with his dad, Darren, who was his coach at Drake. Would have been a completely different look for West Virginia, and I'm sure they miss having him out there, but Javon Small has obviously stepped up and taken on more of the workload in his absence.
Well, beat Arizona in the Bahamas. He had 28 in that game, 8 threes, and obviously he and Javon Small would have been something to watch as they progressed and developed over the season. You know, not only hard losing a great player like him, but when it's your son, it's doubly hard. But the good news is he'll be back next year, and the other part of the good news is Darren DeVries has shown he is a winning coach at this level.
This West Virginia Mountaineers team had 4 wins in conference play all of last year. They've already got 5 in the start of February this season in Darren DeVries' first year. Step back 3, Javon Small out of the timeout. What does Utah need to do here, coach, to get back into this one?
Well, they need to somehow beat the perimeter of this defense. Set some better screens. They're just, you can see where they're running their offense, Eric. They're running it like 30 feet from the basket. They're not getting any clean looks. Everything's a struggle in the half court.
Struggling right now just to hold on to the basketball as Mason Madsen missed the three. Wallin tried to put it back up before he even came down. And now a whistle after the loose ball. Sincere Harris was banged around. And a foul against Utah sends it the other way.
Well, that's tough to take if you're Craig Smith. I mean, first of all, we got 2 shots at the rim, and you get banged around quite a bit. Now, there's a foul right there that they don't call. And then this one, you know, there's contact, and then you get the foul going the other way. So it's just a frustrating night so far for Utah. They can't get anything going clean to the rim. You ask what they need to do. They don't really have a dribble penetrator per se. A little small guard, a Javon Small type. Not necessarily somebody that good, but somebody that can just break the defense down off the dribble. And so when you don't have that, you got to find other ways. You got to screen better, cut harder, but this defense tonight from West Virginia has been elite.
Craig Smith, 4th year at Utah, has had success everywhere he's been. Obviously, at Utah State right before his tenure in Salt Lake City. 20+ wins every year with the Aggies. Trying to translate that now with the Utes. Good recovery on defense from West Virginia. In the corner, it's Keanu Dawes for 3. The 5th three-pointer in 16 attempts tonight for Utah.
Good job by Erickson, just kind of dribble penetrating and finding the open man. They need to just somehow space the court and get an angle into the lane and then drive and kick when they can on an opportunity.
Utah 3 of 6 from 3 in the second half. Dawes blindsiding Hansberry, and Keanu Dawes 5 points on his own in a 5-0 run for the Utes. And West Virginia wants a timeout. Little momentum here for Utah. It takes somebody stepping up, getting a little aggressive, and Keanu Dawes doing that just before the break.
Well, you know, we talked about their problems on offense, and the way to correct that sometimes is to find a way to score off your defense and be aggressive. And West Virginia cannot relax, and Dawes has made a couple of big plays now. He made the 3 in the corner, and then that just showing good physicality in the half court defensively.
7-0 run for Utah. Dawes has 5 of those points in the run, and now the leading scorer for this Utah team with 10 points to go along with 8 rebounds coming off the bench for the Utes. See all the flashing lights in the building.
Well,
tonight.
I don't know. I won't say anything, but if I was a player, you know, the lights on, the lights off, your eyes, you know, there's some sort of medical theory about your eyes adjusting to light and darkness, isn't there? I don't know.
Yeah, they got these wristbands that they've handed out to everybody that flash different colors during each timeout, so they've been turning all the lights off each break. And you see
that's great at a concert. I'm not sure it works in a basketball game, but it's working so far for West Virginia.
53-46 for West Virginia. 4 players for the Mountaineers making up 43 of the 53 points. Yesufu, Okani, Small, and Hansberry. Here in the midway point of our second half.
Harris slipped open for a half second, but Hansberry missed him.
Hansberry instead takes a 3. Knocks it down.
Yeah, that's happened a few times tonight. We talked about it earlier. If they're going to double on that wing, somebody has to rotate up from the backside. I mean, you can't just leave Hansberry wide open and nobody even running at him. I mean, that was just way too easy, and that's happened a couple times tonight.
17 points for Amani Hansberry, his 3rd three-pointer, and now a turnover on Utah. Miscommunication.
It's like being in the gym by yourself, and when you're a good shooter, it's like, wait a minute, they're leaving me that open?
Now he posts up inside, finds Harris left alone. He drives, try to go off the glass, too much. looking for his own rebound. Loose ball. Hansberry has it, fighting for it.
Okay. Blow the whistle earlier.
And a held
Before
ball.
it gets ugly.
Possession arrow in favor of Utah. Good hustle.
Nobody ever complains when you call a jump ball and the two guys have their mitts on it. But when there's 4 guys wrestling around, that's when you can have a problem, like right there, almost.
Yeah, Zach Keller, a little Greco-Roman wrestling on the hold against Hansberry. They wipe up the sweat off the floor. It's a 56-46 lead for West Virginia.
So when Harris drives in the middle of the lane like that and he draws the defense, he's got to be ready to come to a 2-foot stop and play off 2 feet and then turn and look back outside, because he's got teammates open all over the perimeter.
Hunter Erickson slashing to his right, hitting the mid-range jumper. His first attempt of the game and his first bucket.
No, he's giving us some good energy on offense. I like what he's done. He's dribble penetrated, found open men, and that time, good movement without the basketball and a finish.
Small and Hansberry, they've been a great duo here in this one. O'Connie now a 3. The same spot Hansberry just hit from. Inside, Keller tangled up. Might have gotten away with a travel, finds Dawes. Count the bucket and a foul.
Now, this is a better looking Utah half-court offense the last few minutes, and they're trying to dribble penetrate in the rim. Mason Madsen's doing a good job moving without the basketball, and they just pound it in there. And good recognition by Keller to see that Dawes was posted up and he had the smaller Harris on him right at the rim.
Well, you recognized it earlier in the half, Coach, and you called it out, how far away from the basket they were operating their half-court offense. Now as Dawes has gotten going, and you've got Mason Madsen out there who's a little bit more of a driver, they've been good getting into the lane.
Yes, exactly. And Erickson's done a pretty good job as well. Just heady guard, not ultra quick, but finds good angles.
Utah's made their last 4 field goals and trail by 6. O'Connie, floater, no. Hansberry, offensive rebound, ripping it away. Finds Powell, slipped out of his hands, got it back. Short on the 3.
West Virginia, the last few minutes, Eric, they're kind of rushing their offense. They seem to be a little bit too quick. You see there, even with Powell fumbles it, but they gotta make sure, they gotta settle down and let Javon Small run the show, and then everything good happens after that.
Erickson off the screen, missed everything. So West Virginia led by as many as 14. Utah has cut it to 6 under 8 minutes to go here at the Utah finding a spark in Keanu Dawes. They've cut the West Virginia lead down to 6.
Well, they needed a spark from someone, and his aggressiveness on both ends has really given them a huge lift. You know, his toughness, his ability to make plays on the defensive end of the floor, and he's fearless out there. He's a guy that just his toughness, his athleticism, and his ability to post up down low and finish plays has prepped Utah back into this game.
A big body sophomore transferring over from Rice, where he played last season, nearing a double-double tonight. He's got 12 points, 8 rebounds. And West Virginia now trying to regroup, Coach. They led by as many as 14, but they've allowed the physicality of Utah getting into the lane, getting points in the paint to get themselves back into this game.
Well, they have, and their offense has been much better, but their defense has been solid as well. And Gabe Madsen really hasn't had the game, obviously, that he normally has, but they've had other guys step up and play with a lot of grit here down the stretch. It could have gone away easily, but they've hung in there. And West Virginia, their offense has been a little clunky the last 5 minutes.
They get on the press break there, but now just 10 seconds on the shot clock for Javon Small. He's got 10 points, 8 assists. 4 to shoot. Hansberry, the double team. Powell, got to let it fly. Long 2 is good. And they're going to review immediately. Interesting, a lot of times they wait till the next
previous
time
basket's
out.
under review.
They're going to review and stop play immediately at 7:22. The Powell bucket.
They double Hansberry down low, and he did a good job of coming out of the double, but I don't know if Powell had enough time to put the ball on the deck. He was a little bit outside of his comfort area on the perimeter. Did a good job of showing the ball on that contest, but it might have been a half tick too late.
It's really been West Virginia since about 10 minutes into this game. The last Utah lead was when it was 22-21. I don't know, Coach. It's pretty close. I don't know if there's enough there to overturn it or not. It's tough from that far away on that angle.
You know that they're having a problem when they call the third official in for the tiebreaker.
After review, call stands.
So the bucket is good. Back out to an 8-point lead for West Virginia.
Well, it's good recognition by Amani Hansberry. Not sure why they sent the double down low, but they did, and he made them pay. Utah did a good job of recovering, but Powell made a really good play on the perimeter.
Coach DeVries imploring the Coliseum to make some noise. A sold-out crowd here on a Saturday evening. Mason Madsen, step back at the elbow. Tough shot. Loose ball foul against West Virginia. It'll be a reset underneath for the Utes. It's on Amani Hansberry. It's his third personal and the fourth foul on West Virginia.
Again, Utah down the stretch here, creeping back into this game with 5 guys off the bench.
Mason Madsen, 5 points for him.
Well, he's exactly what they need down the stretch here because he moves so well without the ball, and he's very aggressive. He'll put his nose right down and try to get the ball into the paint, and that's been effective in the last few possessions for Utah.
Second unit for Utah doing a great job. Yesufu, tough angle off the glass and in.
That was really good defense by Madsen as well, but even a better offensive play. And Yesufu, again, showing that toughness, that fearlessness on the drive in the lane.
He's got a dozen, the lead out to 8 once again. Erickson. Little driving, left hand, no. Six minutes to go here in regulation. Winner of this one will improve to a 500 conference record, both 5 and 6 in Big 12 play this year. Yesufu, step back. Right now, Joe Lunardi has West Virginia as a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament, but as he said at half, they got to protect home court. They got to win winnable home games down the stretch. Dawes from the clouds misses that 3. Utah 5 of 18 from distance.
Yeah, Dawes might have rushed that a little bit. You know, he's feeling it. He's played great tonight, but a little bit more patience needed on that possession.
In the corner, it's O'Connor. Good looks for West Virginia from deep. It's not dropping with 5 minutes to go.
You know, that can happen a little bit. It's fool's gold, Eric. You make some shots in the first half, but O'Connor's not really a three-point shooter.
Mason Madsen is short on that 3. Offensive rebound and a whistle as Keanu Dawes continues to make a presence
That's a good foul by Okani, because we know about the struggles of Utah at the free throw line. But again, going back to the last couple of possessions, some quick threes by West Virginia. Utah's going to leave Okani open. He made a couple in the first half, but you're going to play the numbers, and he made 11. 25% on the season coming into this game. So you are who you are at this point in the season. And Craig Smith's going to say, okay, you made a couple, but you got to prove to me you can make a couple more.
Dawes hits them both. Utah had missed 5 free throws in a row before the pair there from Keanu Dawes, who takes a seat now with his 14 points and 10 rebounds, double-double off the bench for Keanu Dawes. Gabe Matson back out there, as well as Jake Wallin. Third double-double of his career for Keanu Dawes, a sophomore. 4:30 to play in regulation at the WVU Coliseum in Morgantown. Small, swiped from behind, and a foul against Utah.
That's good play call from the bench by Darren DeVries. Just misdirection. Small brought the ball up, but then they sent him down and through the defense and sent that little pin down screen, and he came off it and curled because he knows they're going to get back on his hip, and they bumped him and sent him to the line.
Utah, 9 team fouls. West Virginia in the bonus. It's a second foul on Jake Wallin. And you have to keep an eye on Ezra Asar, who also just checked in a minute ago. He's got 4 fouls as Joseph Yesufu swaps spots with Sincere Harris for the Mountaineers. One of those rare games, Coach, for West Virginia where they just haven't required Small to get 20, 25 points.
They've had other guys step up, but as time goes on and this game gets to the final minutes, Darren DeVries is going to put the ball in Javon Small's hand and make him make plays, and he will either make them for himself or someone else is going to have to step up again.
West Virginia's defense has been really good. Utah leads the Big 12 in assists per game at 18. Tonight, only 9. And that's a big reason why West Virginia's been all over the passing lanes. This time, Jonathan Powell does it himself.
That was just really good defense. Erickson just got loose with the ball, and West Virginia again aggressive on the perimeter. Well, their offense has stalled a little bit in the last 4 or 5 minutes, but their defense has been stepped up and been consistent all night long for West Virginia.
So Jonathan Powell has been great this second half. Scoreless in the first half, Coach, but 7 points now. And I kind of like his attitude. A little cocky out there. He's been talking with the West Virginia student section. It's been fun to see.
Well, he's comfortable in his own shoes at this point in the season because Darren DeVries has empowered him to shoot the ball from the perimeter. And more importantly, even than that, believe it or not, is Javon Small finding him. When he's open, even if he has rough nights or he misses 4 or 5 in a row, Javon Small is still going to find him. And he's done a good job on the perimeter. He finds his open spots. He does a good job of reading the defense and understanding when the defense is loading up on Javon Small, he'll slide into an open area, and then you see defensively he can make things happen as well.
We've talked about how the teammates for Javon Small have stepped up. You look at Powell's numbers in the second half, but again, to quote Reggie Jackson, Javon Small is the straw that stirs the drink. You look at his numbers, 12 points, 8 assists, 0 turnovers, 7 of 7 from the free throw line. It just makes guys like Jonathan Powell's job so much easier.
It does, and the thing about West Virginia is they stalled. Their offense has stalled a little bit in the last 4 or 5 minutes, but their defense has still been very, very effective, not allowing Utah a lot of clean looks.
Utah scoreless last 3 minutes. Asar out there with his 4 fouls. Backdoor cut. Wallin lays it in.
Oh, nice play, nice pass, but really good reading of the defense on the backside by Wallin. And that's what you have to do. If they're going to overplay you, you've got to make them pay by going backdoor.
Small one off his season high of assists. He had 9 against Cincinnati in a win on the road. Eduardo Andre got bodied by Madsen midair. Mason called for the foul, and Andre to the free throw line.
Andre's fortunate there. I mean, it looked like he got took an off-balance shot. I thought he was going to go up on ball side and just flush it home, but again, both teams, the last couple possessions, excellent ball movement and player movement on the backside, reading the defense.
Andre scoreless in this game, has not attempted an official field goal. He's coming off a 10-point performance in the loss against TCU when he was a perfect 5 of 5 from the floor, but they've gone with some smaller lineups. They've worked the perimeter, and they've found their outside shots, so they haven't really needed so much offense from Eduardo Andre in this game. Mason Madsen with a little spark down the floor, missed the 3, wants it back, bad pass, tracks it down before going over the timeline. 7 to shoot. Wallin step back 3 is good. And Utah within 5, just under 3 minutes to go here in regulation.
A lot of toughness right there, Eric, by Utah's behalf. They were facing the pressure. They were out of sync, but they stayed with it. They kept their nose on the basketball, and Wallin again doing a nice job of moving and cutting and reading the defense to find the open spot.
West Virginia led by as many as 14. Utah got within 6 and then back out to a double-digit lead for West Virginia. Now Utah within 5. The T-shirt cannon out in full force. They keep the lights on during this timeout for the first time today.
Well, you need a cell phone flashlight sometimes to draw up these plays. Maybe Darren DeVries said, keep the lights on for us on this one. But, you know, listen, Utah has played gritty. They could have faded in this game, but Craig Smith, I think, has really done a nice job of using his bench. At one point, they had all 5 bench guys in the game. They're contributing all at once. Now he's got both Madsen brothers back in the game. I think the grittiness of those two is much needed down the stretch.
Upcoming schedule for Utah. They'll be on the road Tuesday. Coach and I will be there for that one. They got home games against Kansas and Kansas State. Craig Smith likes what he sees. Needs a little bit more of it. Time running out here. Utah's comeback attempt, but they're within 5. Little full court press. O'Connor. Oh, did he get away with a travel? Maybe. Numbers now for West Virginia. And a reset by Javon Small with 15 on the shot clock.
I think he did travel, and that was a good timeout by Craig Smith just to get his defense set and remind his team of the situation.
Small caught midair. Up top, Powell, 4 to shoot. Gets the roll!
That's a mistake by Mason Madsen. He got caught ball watching. He was looking at Javon Small and lost Powell just for a split second at the top.
All 10 of Powell's points have come in the second half. Sharv jumps. Driving baseline, slips, fades away, off the backboard and into the hands of Amani Hansberry.
This is when it's goal time for Darren DeVries. When you have that guy out, number 7, to run your team, use some clock, but still look for your offense at the opportunity.
Under 2 minutes to go. Here's Small with a head of steam. Inside O'Connor, a whistle before the shot. And what will be free throws for West Virginia as they're in the double bonus.
What happens when you have a great player like Javon Small? You're so geared up on what he can do. Watch Madsen. He gets caught ball watching and he doesn't know where Powell is. He's too deep into the paint. He needs to be halfway where he can get and move on the pass and contest at the top on the catch.
Javon, a perfect 8 for 8 from the free throw line, extends the West Virginia lead out to 9.
That still is a truth about defense. The game has changed over the years, but see man, see ball, and be able to recover. And Utah's got to continue to do what they do to get back in this game. Try to dribble, penetrate.
And that's a turnover. A few times in this game where it's been unforced errors. Utah throwing passes well away from the basket and nobody's ready for them and they go out of bounds.
Well, that's just because West Virginia has caused this. They've caused it with their pressure. They've caused it with their just relentless pressure of the ball, their denial, everybody moving as one. Their scheme has been absolutely perfect tonight defensively in the half court. That's bothered Utah, taking them out of their rhythm.
Okani picks up his dribble, 10 to shoot now for Joseph Yesufu. 5 on the shot clock. Yesufu driving, muscling it up, and in. Joseph Yesufu, 14 points for him.
He is just, when he plays like that, West Virginia is really dangerous.
Mason Madsen, not there. Asar tried to throw it off a West Virginia body. Gabe Madsen taps it back in bounds. Mason another crack at it, another miss. Asar another offensive rebound, rejected by Okani. Numbers now for the Mountaineers. It's Powell blocked from behind. And a foul called against Utah.
Now they're going to look at that for just 2 guys flying at the rim, but the contact may be deemed excessive.
Wallin, who came behind.
Previous fouls under review.
Knocked Jonathan Powell into the matting underneath the basket.
Well, again, Utah just tried to get something going to the rim, but the aggressiveness at the rim, the defensive presence, and then Wallin obviously wasn't on purpose, but trying to protect.
Yeah, he's going for the ball too. It's a hard foul. Nothing flagrant, it appears, but we will wait for the official ruling. 7-0 run right now for West Virginia, back up by 12.
Well, this Darren DeVries, talking to him earlier today at the shoot-around, he was concerned about this game, obviously, because Utah is a formidable, they've shown they can win games in this conference in their first year. And when you're coming off a loss on the road, you just, at this time of the year, you're like, we've got to find ways to get more wins, especially in this building. But teams have been loading up on Javon Small, and who's going to step up? Now, the Cincinnati game, you were there.
Yep.
Yesufu was terrific from the perimeter. TCU didn't do anything. Powell couldn't make a shot. Guys had open looks. Small couldn't get to the free throw line. Now, tonight, it's been, the switch has been flipped, but the one consistent thing with West Virginia all season long has been their defense. But the thing that they added to that tonight is they really rebounded the ball well.
Look at the rebounding stats. +1 in favor of Utah, but that's a
After
win
review,
for West Virginia.
The common foul has been changed to a flagrant 1 foul for excessive contact.
Flagrant 1.
Well, that's what happens when, you know, 2 guys are flying in the air and you kind of swing the arm a little bit. I can't fault this call. It's obviously the intent is not there, but the rule doesn't state intent. You know, that's an excessive contact, and that's a good call.
So Powell, the free throw line where he misses that one. Going back to the rebounding, you know, you say, how can you know, West Virginia's losing in the rebounding battle by 1. How's that a good game? Well, it's 16th in the conference. That's dead last in rebounding margin this year. So breaking even or even being down by 1 is a win for West Virginia on the
It's really been an issue in league games. You know, they're -7 in the 11 league games. So in the size factor of Utah was definitely a concern for West Virginia coming in. But, you know, when you have quickness and toughness, sometimes that could counteract that size. And so far, that's been the case tonight. Why West Virginia has pulled away, because of the fact that their defense has been elite in half court.
Powell and Hansberry both with 7 rebounds to lead the way. O'Connell and Small with 4 each. And the final minute of this game dragging a little bit here with all these stoppages. Small looking for some help. Threw it off the back of Mason Madsen. Just to get himself a fresh 5 seconds because time was running out.
Now they're going to go to their go-to. They're going to put the ball in Small's hand. He's going to dribble out this clock and make the right play. Looks like Utah's not going to foul.
10 on the shot clock here. Small trapped. Finds a passing lane out of it. And a late foul with 5 on the shot clock. 34 seconds to go. You and I have gotten a chance to call quite a few West Virginia games this year. We enjoy coming to Morgantown. We've called them on the road as well. You know, one thing that's noticeable, and we've alluded to it in this game, but you know, the confidence you see from some of these secondary guys that wasn't there a month ago. The Yesufu, Jonathan Powell, Hansberry, O'Connell. You know, they have really developed into what their role is on this team. Does it work out every single game? Absolutely not. There's still some inconsistencies, but you're seeing more confidence in what their role is when they're out on the floor.
Well, first of all, it starts with the coach. That's easy. That's easy to say, see and dissect. But secondly, it really starts with Javon Small. I mean, if he's the type of player that says, okay, wait a minute, I'm light years better than these guys, and he knows it, they know it, but he doesn't show it. You know, he's trying to build confidence with his teammates, and that's what winners do. And you talk to Darren DeVries, every player wants to get to the NCAA tournament. Javon Small's never been there. 3 years, two at East Carolina, last year at Oklahoma State. Never been there. He wants it, but he's showing how much he wants it by uplifting his secondary players.
See their upcoming schedule. BYU, who's playing Cincinnati right now. We're on ESPN2. Then on the road against Baylor, back home against Cincinnati, and then finishing off the 5-game stretch at Texas Tech and versus TCU. So it'll be interesting to see what West Virginia can do there. Opportunities for some ranked wins. West Virginia has been kind of in and out of the top 25 all season. They've never stayed in very long. It seems like every time they make it in the top 25, they've lost the subsequent game or two. But they've got the talent, and this is a good rebound back from losing 4 of their last 5.
It is, and you know, this league has obviously got landmines all over the place. And the one thing as a coach, and you've got to teach your team this, is number one, don't look at the brackets. They don't mean anything to what's going to happen on the court. And if you start looking at them and don't continue to improve, you're going to go through a losing streak. And the other thing is, don't just every game has to be the biggest on the schedule. Don't look at what we just showed on that graphic, because then, you know, as a coach too, you start losing your mind, because you start, where are we going to grab wins? Well, the win has got to come next, and that's what West Virginia did tonight.
Small was trapped, called a timeout with 18.5 seconds to go. Utah's out of timeouts. West Virginia still has 2. And for Utah, listen, they were picked to finish dead last in the Big 12 in the preseason poll. They've obviously exceeded those expectations, but just haven't been able to find any marquee wins this year. And kind of alluded to it, the roster makeup of this team, just kind of missing that Javon Small type point guard on this team. And a reminder, coming up, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN, 3rd ranked Alabama in Fayetteville to take on John Calipari and the Razorbacks. And then we cap off the night, number 20 Arizona hosting number 13 Texas Tech. That's at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN. So a win here at home for West Virginia. Hard fought on both ends of the floor. They improved to 15-8 overall, 6-6 on the season. And sitting comfortably, according to Joe Lunardi, in the NCAA tournament right now.
Any win in this conference is a quality win. Utah gave them their best shot in the second half, but West Virginia answered. Javon Small and company started with their defense, but also their secondary players making some plays on the offensive end.
Amani Hansberry led the way with 17 points as West Virginia knocks off Utah in the Utes' first trip to Morgantown ever. 72-61 your final from the WVU Coliseum. We appreciate you joining us here in Morgantown. For Tim Welsh, I'm Eric Rothman saying so long, and a reminder that all events airing on ESPN Plus are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.
Hey there, Martina